Growing up in America, I was raised in a multi-ethnic community in Brooklyn, New York. It was really convenient for me to see, and often for me to see, many multi-ethnic groups. My grandmother was raised in the church that we went to. We constantly, like, every Sunday, focused on feeding the homeless, the handicapped, and the hungry. That was her main focus every Sunday. We felt tortured a little because we always had to wait 3 and 4 hours after church was over to be able to go home and to do anything. But it was a very good experience growing up in that fashion because I had an opportunity to learn a lot about different people and how they live differently and have different circumstances. So it built me up a sense of empathy for people and what they were going through, and it helped me to appreciate what I had, which we were living in an inner city in a poor community, and we didn't have much, but my situation wasn't as bad as the people that we were serving. We were not homeless, we were not hungry, we were not handicapped. So I really appreciated that opportunity. Yes, the community that I lived in was nice, and we did have an opportunity to serve, but we also segregated the handicapped. We also segregated the homeless. So even though we were part of the church and we did serve them and we was a part of being with them, they still was left in certain areas. They wasn't just allowed to be in all areas of the church. They were constantly monitored. But the graciousness to serve them, we still felt. But I feel like a lot of people self-institutionalize themselves by being in that systematic area, allowing themselves to stay confined to one area or another. And it feels kind of weird, that people don't give themselves an opportunity to be a part of other ethnic groups and really learn. But that community overall, you could go anywhere. It was weird that, living in a city that we were in a poor community, but you could cross the street and it was like being in a whole new area where people had larger incomes, but all of us was able to appreciate the environment. There was one huge park that was just amazing. It was Fort Greene Park in Brooklyn and then Prospect Park. And between going to those two parks, you had an opportunity to be a part of a different world and be part of a different set of people. You could feel the calmness, because we were living in a community where gunshots was regular, gangs, so we were, just to be able to get away by crossing the street it seemed so simple, but some people didn't take the opportunity to just do that. They stayed in there. So I think that sometimes people self-institutionalize themselves. They stay in that environment. They don't allow themselves an opportunity to learn and to move forward. I enjoy being part of a multi-ethnic church because I feel like it's essential to implement what you are learning. You learn through the gospel that you should serve and you should be a part of people and love people no matter what they are, who they are, what group they come from. But if you self-segregate, you don't have an opportunity to do that. And in a multi-ethnic setting, you do. You have an opportunity to learn and to be understanding and to be empathetic to people. You have an opportunity to use the gospel, implement what you're learning, and be a part of something greater than yourself, just by being willing to learn from each other and to practice. And you could say it often enough, but to be able to be a part of something where you could just love on someone who is not like you. So if it's okay to always be around the same people, you're never gonna implement what you're learning because you're not being tested to love. You're not being tested to be a part of something different. You're not being tested to say, do I want to even sit next to that person? Do I want to even open up my heart and my mind to beat down those stereotypes that you have on your own that maybe you were raised with and they're subconscious? You don't really realize it, but you realize it if that person is 2 steps from you or right in front of you. And then that is your test to say, am I being who I claim to be? So being part of a multi-ethnic environment and church, it gives you a chance to implement what you're learning in the gospel to say, am I truly loving my neighbor? Am I truly giving my heart? Am I truly giving my all? It doesn't have to be financial, but are you giving your heart and your mind and being open-minded and being willing to accept knowledge of someone else. So this way, the strength is when you go somewhere else, you can give that love regardless. If someone says hello, you don't have to be standoffish. You don't have to be disrespectful. You don't have to be rude. You could be true to doing the gospel, truly loving someone, being able to bring yourself to the level to say, I really love that person, regardless to color, regardless to ethnic group, just love on that person. And that's the only way that we as a community, we as a nation and the world could really learn to accept each other is by learning, and enjoying the food too. But, just learning and being able, because the food is definitely phenomenal. If everything started around food, we all would be appreciative, But just by doing that, you have a way of truly implementing what you're learning in the gospel. And that's what I love about being part of Grace. It feels like being back in New York where I could cross the street and be part of something more. This is something more. This is something more. This is really beating down barriers one Sunday at a time. Great. I like it. I do. I like it. My name is Natasha Lamadieu, and now you know more about me.